And welcome to Raising Vibrations with myself, Simon. Today, guys, I'm going to be doing something that I promised you, which was the community questions. This is the first time I'm actually going to be doing this. So I'm still feeling a way through how I'm going to go about actually presenting this to you guys. This one's going to be pretty much plain. I've just got loads of information on the left-hand side over here in terms of questions that have come through, and I'll just give you my own perspective on it. So yeah, I hope that sounds interesting. And again, if you've got other questions, just write in the comments below. I'll definitely add to that, and I'll try and make this a weekly thing. If there is many comments, if there is a lot of information that wants to be answered. Okay, so to get stuck in quickly, I'm going to be answering one of the comments, which is from BlackLove160, and she was wanting to know, or he was wanting to know the nodes. Okay, so the nodes of the planetary positions, like the planets, for instance, which is not spoken about in general astrology, by the way. So this is cool and new stuff and information. So the nodes of the planets themselves are actually in existence as well. It's just not there is not just the north node of the moon and the south node of the moon. In fact, all the planets bar the sun have got these planetary south nodes and north nodes. And these planetary south nodes and north nodes actually travel very, very slowly around the planets. So for instance, like Pluto has a south node in Capricorn, and it's been there for a long period of time. And so that's actually conditions the nature of something that is pre-existing. And for many of us on Earth at this point, in fact, all of us at this point in time, this is what correlates to the natural distortions of natural law. In other words, the patriarchy, the way that we have constructed our reality at this point in time. Lots of suppression, lots of anger, a lot of all of this type of stuff correlates to that, which I'm going to be writing an article about in terms of explaining it in more detail. But planetary nodes are very, very important actually, because in terms of when you're looking at a symbol like a Venus in a person's birth chart, you have the south node of Venus being in Sagittarius, then the person's natal Venus being in, let's say, for instance, Aquarius, right? And then the north node of that Venus is now in Gemini. So what we've got to do here quickly is back up and understand the natural existence or natural law of the Trinity, okay? So what we have here within the 3D physical reality on Earth, okay, the Saturn energy, this is what you've come here to do. You've come here to learn the 3D world. So we have the time frame, the past, the present, and the future. So natural law through our reality is that something that has inherently come before the present and something that is going to be existing based on the present experience, i.e. the future. So the nodes relative to this discussion right now, Venus's south node in Sagittarius, Venus in Aquarius, and then the north node of Venus being in Gemini, you're looking at a person that would naturally inherently be conditioned, okay, to inwardly relate to themselves. Okay, Venus inwardly relate to themselves in a Sagittarian way, a natural way. I'm searching for something. Yet their natural way to be in this lifetime, okay, is one of breaking free, of detachment, of objectifying. So what happens is that as you get to the age of around about 30 and you start to individuate yourself, you will naturally have a conditioning pattern where you will inwardly relate to yourself in a Sagittarius way until you start to step into the natural Aquarius archetype. Okay, and that's when you'll start to become more objective, and you evolve through asking the questions. Okay, Gemini, the north node. So inherently in every single planetary archetype in your charts, okay, Pluto, Venus, Mars, etc., all have a pre-existing way of working. So we can actually see the past life dynamics that exist within your chart and within your life. You can see exactly where you have been relative to the past and what you're doing in the future, in the present. And so the nodes themselves are packed with a lot of information about the nature of your pre-existing way of being. And very simply put, in terms of understanding this from another perspective, the Trinity, so the past, the present, and the future. The past is what has conditioned you. The present is how you are evolving, and the future is how you go about evolving that, right? So you're evolving from the past, Sag, through the curious object of detachment, and you're doing it in a Gemini way by being curious, exposing yourself to many different things. So if you've got the moon, for instance, the same example, that's just very conscious. The moon will correlate to the nature of how mother nurtures yourself relative to security. So when you look at the South Node, you're observing something that has inherently given you security relative to the past. And so therefore, as you step into the future, you are stepping into the future using your actual natal planets. And then the North Nodes will correlate to what you can integrate into your consciousness that is not known. Does that make sense? So the nodes are very, very important in terms of that. And that's how you can orientate yourself around understanding how you have been relative to how you are and how you're going into the future. Okay? Stelliums are traffic jams. There's a big reason as to why you would have a stellium in a chart. I would look at the repeating themes. So if you've got a stellium of like Jupiter, Mercury, and the Sun in the 12th house, check out Neptune in your chart. It'll probably be in the 3rd house with Sag ruling the 3rd house. So that's really important to understand. So stelliums are consciousness that has been fused together, 4 or 5 planets or 3 or 4 planets that have been fused together. And depending on what planets you have will dictate the nature of what is being fused together. If it's Pluto, there's a massive transformation that's happening. And so therefore you're going to be experiencing a lot of evolution in those planets. So breakdowns through breakthroughs, etc., etc. And it's a fusing of energy together. And there's a massive emphasis on that experience. Whatever planetary systems you have over there will be what you'll be looking for. Okay? So check out the series that I did called on the 12 astrological archetypes if you want to understand what it means. So if you've got Jupiter, Mercury, and the Sun all conjunct each other in a stellium, then go watch my video, which is the 3rd house, the 5th house, and the 9th house to get an understanding how you can actually intuit those in your life, okay? Vertex, I'm not too sure about the asteroid yet. I will come back to that. The 12th house meaning is really, really simple. It is the culmination of everything. You simply observe the wave. And the beginning of something is where the wave starts to form like this, and then the 12th house correlates to something that is culminating. It's the end process. It's the totality of the whole experience. And so you surrender to that process. So if you've got planets in your 12th house, you're looking at something that is inherently needing to be surrendered to. If your Sun's over there, you surrender to your ego. If your Mercury's over there, you surrender to your mind, etc., etc. You're learning how to surrender to something and find the ultimate meaning in the process. It's a Piscean archetype, the culmination of something. Okay? All right, guys. So the next one I have over here is from the Gershwin. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And what house system do I use? I use the Porphyry house system. And the reason why I use the Porphyry house system is because, again, the astrology I work with is more along the lines of natural law. I just use the symbols to intuit what is inherent within our consciousness. So natural law, again, the past, the present, and the future. And the house system has got 3 houses. 1st house, 2nd house, 3rd house, and then it's all in a quadrant. Okay, and then you've got the 4th house, the 5th house, and the 6th house, all in the second and the other quadrant. And it is through that process of how things naturally evolve, we understand firstly repeating themes. So Sagittarius, the 9th house, and Jupiter are all the same archetype. How you naturally philosophize your life, and you'll see repeating themes in your chart when you use this house system. So from Jeffrey Wolf Green, which is the person that I learned evolutionary astrology from, he found that it had the most amount of accuracy relative to a person's actual direct experience of life versus, just using some man-made concepts like Placidius and all that. So Porphyry or Koch system, straight up simple, nothing of the sort. We're not trying to complicate things here. We're not trying to use man-made ideas. We're just using the nature and natural laws, and that being what we define our reality to be. We don't need to believe in something. It inherently is true. Okay? All right. And then I've got another one from Highly Conductive 86. And he was trying to understand the nature of the North Node in Aries and the South Node and Libra. And again, when we're looking at the nodes, we're looking at how we're observing the nature of the past and the present. And with the South Node being in the Libra, you're looking at a natural orientation towards being in relationships. So teacher types would be the way that you would experience your life. People in your life, relationships, friends, your parents would be a way in which you were conditioned early in life. You would have had to learn fairness and balance through inequality. So your natural assumption in life is to create balance and harmony and be in relationships, yet the North Node is asking you at the same time to integrate your sense of self, to not forget about who you are. So it's not about serving other people, it's about naturally integrating who you are into the system, into the situation, so that you are able to not be left out because of the service to other people. Okay? So South Node in Libra is definitely about others and needing to learn how to focus in on the self, okay? All right, guys, I think that was it. Oh yeah, one more. It's one person was, I think it was Giovanni, and he had the moon in the 6th house with Pluto. And what does that mean? So basically what you need to know is that when Pluto is touching any symbol in the chart, it's massively transmuting it. It's taking the form that it originally was when you were born and taking it into a completely different form. So by the time you get to the age of 50, 60, you would have seen the transmutation of how you were when you were a kid relative to how you are when you're an adult. And it's that whole life of experience that will be transforming that archetype in your consciousness. So in this case with the moon, you're looking at developing a total transformation of inner security, recognizing that the only true security exists within, and it's not something that you can place outside of yourself. You'll be learning about the nature of your self-image and rectifying that. Now, if it's in the 6th house, there's a lot of emphasis on the nature of healing your body, being able to be in your body and constantly creating experiences within your life that allow you to not be detached from your reality, to not space out, to not just play video games your whole life, or to just be, doing whatever, drinking your whole life, or smoking, for instance. It's about being in the moment and actively doing things every single day, showing up in reality, and that allowing you to heal yourself. Virgo, heal yourself. Okay, I think that was it, guys. So I hope that was fun and exciting. Don't forget to write your comments below in terms of the next session. I'll cover anything you want me to do. It's not a problem as well. So hit the like and subscribe button, guys. I truly appreciate all the support that you've been giving me. Your YouTube channel is really, really growing at this stage, and I'm loving what I'm doing at this point in time. So if you're interested in, having more of this stuff done, come over to my website, simonvorster.com. Book a reading with myself. It supports me in terms of getting this stuff to you. And of course, if you're interested in buying my online astrology school, which is where I teach you how to do all of this type of stuff, it's all on my website. And of course, at the same time, I've got my subscription service as well, which I give you loads and loads of cool stuff in relative to astrology. Okay, great, guys. Until then, I will take